This is Keith Helwig from C.O.s Corrections 3-minute videos. Today I'd like to discuss the difference between correctional officers and police officers. Correctional officers are in a profession which is often considered the red-headed stepchild of law enforcement. As someone who works both sides of the fence, I spent over 35 years working in the Department of Corrections, retiring as a captain, and during that same period of time I also worked as a police officer. I can tell you that from the bottom of my heart, both are law enforcement, and both are simply different sides of the same coin. Some of the differences between being a cop and a police officer. A police officer deals with an adverse situation during their shift, perhaps in most places, unless you're in a large city, 3 or 4 times during the course of their shift. A correctional officer, on the other hand, deals with convicts 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day, 16 hours a day, every single day of their working life. A correctional officer has the benefit of knowing who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. In Wisconsin, basically, if they're wearing greens or if they're wearing an orange uniform, they're not a good guy. They are inmates. A police officer, on the other hand, doesn't know who they're dealing with. When I'm working as a police officer and I make a traffic stop and I approach a car, I have no idea who is in that car. I have no idea what their intent is, what their motive is, what they may have done, or what they may consider doing. Now, corrections, on the same hand, has somewhat the same problem in dealing with inmates. They don't know what the inmate is going to do. They may know what he has done, and through their observation of him, they may know whether they have a violent history, things of that nature. But it can be very unpredictable. In both cases, cops and corrections, things can turn into a shit blizzard in a matter of seconds. Now, as far as corrections being the red-headed stepchild of law enforcement, most correctional officers, contrary to common belief, do not want to be police officers. They're in corrections because they choose to be in corrections. There are those who use corrections as a stepping stone to being a police officer, and from someone who's seen it from both sides of the fence, someone who worked both sides of the fence, I can honestly say that many of the best police officers I've ever met started out as correctional officers. Correctional officers have to rely on their mind. As a correctional officer, you don't, in most cases, carry a baton. You may have OC, but you surely don't have a taser with you. You don't have a gun with you. Most prisons, you're not wearing any type of protective vest. So you have to rely on your mind. You have to rely on your verbal ability. That's something which transfers very favorably to police work. Not to say that police officers don't do a commendable job. I know a lot of great police officers. I would never belittle the job any police officer does. I would never belittle the job any officer does. Whether you wear a correctional officer uniform or a police officer uniform, be proud of that uniform, be proud of your job. Stay safe, watch your back, and if you like my videos, please subscribe. Thank you.